Hi, I'm Matthew Buzzy, and this is the Razer Book 13, a non-gaming ultra-portable from a company known for its gaming products. Razer has dipped their toes into this product category before. The Razer Blade Stealth 13, when it was first introduced, did not have a discrete GPU. It was completely non-gaming. They've since added discrete GPU, entry-level GPU, but discrete graphics nonetheless, into the Blade 13 because the Blade line, I suppose, needs some sort of through line to being a gaming product. But this, on the other hand, integrated graphics only. This is competing with products like the Dell XPS 13, the Apple MacBook Air, Microsoft Surface laptop. So anything aimed at professionals who need to get real work done, don't really need a gaming GPU or gaming performance. The all-silver look might tell you that it's in that product category as opposed to the black and green Blade aesthetic that Razer uses for its gaming products. So all in all, it's a more professional machine made for everyday work, and it has the feature set and the design to back that up. The one touch of gaming DNA that Razer leaves in this product, I would say, is the per-key RGB keyboard. You can make every key light up individual colors and effects. That's something you usually see in desktop USB keyboards and high-end gaming laptops. So that's like a little extra they're leaving behind to say that they have some sort of gaming background, but really it's a fun extra. And it just kind of is there as a, I don't want to say gimmick, but as a fun addition. Now, because it's competing with premium ultra-portables like those, portability and size is obviously of the utmost importance. And it delivers on that front because it's super compact. The footprint is smaller, I think, than all but the XPS 13. The build is metal, it's really high quality, weighs a hair over 3 pounds, and that's about a quarter of a pound difference between the lightest of the others. It's a little heftier. It's a little dense, all metal, but it's not heavy. It's still around 3 pounds. Those weigh about 2.8. This weighs about 3.09. So really similar tier, even if it's slightly heavier. Part of that is the touchscreen. The digitizer obviously weighs a little bit extra. The MacBook Air, no touchscreen. So differences like that sort of add up. One key thing is that it is a little thicker than the others. Not much. This is still what I would definitely call a very thin laptop, but it is a little thicker. That does allow them to include HDMI, USB-C, and standard USB-A, which a lot of the premium thin laptops, and a lot of people have gotten used to this, are only USB-C now. That's a way to get them thinner. USB-C is the future, it's versatile, it's faster. All of those are true, but a lot of people are still using USB-A peripherals, and that makes it a little difficult to use your old mouse, your USB drives, things that you're used to just plugging in and going that you then realize you can't use or you need to bring an adapter around with you for. That's just a small inconvenience, and this laptop, like the Surface laptop, sticks with the full-size USB as well as HDMI for video out. So that's a pro in my favor. I think I'd rather have that than lose slightly more thickness. It's not that worth it to me to be that much less thick when they're all within the same ballpark anyway. One of the ways it achieves this super compact form factor are these really thin screen bezels. I mean, this is a gorgeous screen, nearly edge to edge, just like the XPS 13. The Apple MacBook Air and the Microsoft Surface laptop still have those thicker black borders around the screen, which is starting to look a little dated in 2020. It also lets you fit less screen real estate into the chassis, so that's how this has an even smaller footprint compared to the MacBook Air, which is already a compact laptop. Yes, it's a bit thicker, but it cuts a few tenths of an inch, hundredths of an inch off the depth and the width in every dimension. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive compared to an already small laptop. So part of that is the screen bezels makes a really big difference. Also just looks better and nicer. As I mentioned, this is a touch display. The base model is non-touch, so that is an option you can take, and above the R unit, which is the mid-range model, there's a 4K touch option. So you have pretty much the whole gamut: non-touch Full HD, touch Full HD, which is R unit, and 4K touch. So that's a pretty nice set of options to have. You can kind of pick what you want. You can't divorce the display type from the other components. Like, touch comes with certain components, the non-touch comes with certain components, and the 4K one has its own set. You can't mix and match, so I guess that's a downside, but companies like this can't stock every possible permutation of components and feature sets, unfortunately. So that non-touch base model, which is $1199, gets you a Core i5 processor, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 256GB SSD. This mid-range model with the touch display gets you a Core i7 CPU as well as the 16 gigs of RAM and 256GB SSD. The storage is a little low for $1,600 configuration, which is what our mid-range SKU costs. I'd like to see 512 at that price point. but it's doable for this type of product. You don't need a lot. You're not putting a lot of games on here, things that take up a lot of space. So you can get away with 256. If you have a lot of big files, maybe the 4K 512 gigabyte option is for you. But obviously more expensive because, as I said, it is tied to that 4K screen. So if you want this HD touch, you are tied to the 256 gigabyte SSD. The performance you get out of those components was really good. The Core i7 and the 16 gigs of RAM outpaced the Dell XPS 13 on average, as well as the Microsoft Surface laptop. As far as compared to other Intel options and other Windows machines, this, considering even its small chassis, maybe that extra bit of thickness helps with the thermals, outpaced the others. On average, it was one of the faster on our benchmark test. So really impressive. Got about 15 hours of battery life. Again, the MacBook Air breaking the mold slightly with its nearly 30-hour battery life. We have seen that on a couple Windows laptops. This one doesn't get quite that high. 15 hours is still good. Half as much battery, sure, but 15 hours of use is all day battery, technically. We're talking about covering a full work day. The MacBook Air taking all day battery literally and going over 24 hours is a bit of a different conversation, but 15 hours is enough to get you through your workday, browsing the web, watching some video. It'll run down differently depending on what you do, but that's what we call long battery life. That's still very good. And compared to gaming equivalents with discrete graphics like the Razer Blade Stealth, they don't last nearly as long because the battery gets drained pretty quickly. All in all, we've come away really impressed by the Razer Book 13. Not really a lot of cons to speak of, kind of nitpicking with the 256 gig SSD and the fact that it's a little heftier than the others, but still super thin, super light, ultra portable, really no matter how you slice it. The build quality is fantastic, the keyboard's comfortable, the per key RGB lighting is fun, if not essential. The touchpad's really good. Razer usually has the best touchpads among Windows laptops, probably just short of the MacBook quality, but really nice and smooth scrolling. The screen is gorgeous. The glass sheen on the touch model especially makes it look extra nice, and the resolution is sharp, and it just looks great and is kind of a pleasure to use. The laptop itself is really high quality, no flex, the battery life's long. The addition of the full-size ports and HDMI in addition to USB-C with Thunderbolt 4 support are really all positives. I have mostly very, very glowing things to say about this laptop because there's really not much wrong with it. You can check my full review for benchmark scores, more details, more of my opinion on the build and the features on PCMag.com. Gets a 4.5 out of 5 all around. There's really very little to complain about with this laptop, and if you like Razer's design and you like their features, we can really fully recommend it. So please go check out my full review on PCMag.com, and thanks for watching.